guys, hope you're doing well today. This is going to be my first update for my For the Love of Eyeshadows project pan collab with my friend AmandaMakeupandWine here on YouTube. I will link our intro up in the cards right here, but we are doing a collab focusing on only eyeshadows. It's kind of like Pan That Palette, but it's just different because we're focusing on either single shadows or just specific eyeshadows and palettes, not necessarily trying to pan a full palette. We're either trying to make progress on them or finish them completely. But you guys should really check out Amanda's channel. She has an adorable kitty who I love seeing in her videos, but she's also a really sweet person, has a really awesome personality. She's a great project panner, and I think you guys would really enjoy her channel. So I'll leave her channel, her Instagram, and her video linked down below. So we wanted to be updating around the 20th of each month, and I believe this is going to be finishing on December 20th, and we just wanted to focus on some eyeshadows. I actually did finish 2 of them. I'm going to be replacing an eyeshadow and actually rolling that eyeshadow into a different project coming up, but then I did include a new one, so I think there's 3 eyeshadows in total, so I think I have 2 new ones. I'm not really sure, I kind of forget, but let's get into the progress. The first eyeshadow that I want to talk about is from my Milani Most Loved Mattes eyeshadow palette, and I wanted to focus on the shade Fancy Vanilla in here. So I'll insert a picture of what this looked like in my previous intro. And as you can see, this is the Fancy Vanilla shade and it is completely done. So there wasn't a ton of product in it in the intro video, but it's a matte cream shade. I find that they're very easy to use up, and I'm really happy that I did. I also just bought like a Makeup Revolution powder, and it is like a thicker powder, so it actually works really nicely to set my eyeshadow primer, and that's exactly what I used the Fancy Vanilla shade for. So I kind of wish I had like a legit single shadow to use instead of a powder, but this was a nice one. It was a little bit lighter than my skin tone, so it did work nicely to highlight my brow bone as well, but this one is finished. And then I have one eyeshadow from my beloved Profusion Metallics palette. This is one of my favorite palettes I own, and I'll insert a picture of what this looked like in the intro video. So the shade I wanted to focus on was the shade in Conquest right here, which was a beautiful, very metallic, champagne-y bronze shade. It was beautiful. It was one of my favorites in this palette. And as you can see, I do have some pan and others, and this palette's just really good. It was very affordable. It's only like $13 or less for, I believe this is 24 colors. I really like this palette. I liked the Conquest shade a lot. It was really pretty on the eyes, especially if you wanted to do a neutral look, but this one is finished. And then I had 2 shades in my BH Cosmetics Weekend Festival eyeshadow palette. So I'll insert a picture of what this looked like in my intro video. And then here's what the palette looks like. So I wanted to focus on the shade Flash right here, which is a metallic copper color. And I also want to focus on the shade Neon, which is a metallic lime green. So for Flash, I only use this maybe like 2 or 3 times, and it's very pretty. I just forget to use it a lot of the time. This is a palette that does get neglected in my collection just because I am panning a palette, so I don't tend to reach for these because the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill palette that I'm currently panning, it's more neutral. It does have some pops of color to it, but usually I want to pair it with like a shimmer and then use like the mattes in the Morphe palette. I can use shimmers from here, I just forget about it a lot of the time. So Flash I want to get more use out of in the next month. And then I'm actually going to be replacing the shade Neon right here because this is a green color and I want to put it in a different project that I have coming up. So it will be in a project, just not this one. But I've definitely made a little bit of progress on it. Not a whole lot, but there's minor progress there. And since I only have the BH Cosmetics eyeshadow and Flash from the Weekend Festival palette, I do want to pull in 2 shadows. I know I typically had 4 in here, but since I already finished 2 of them, I don't want to put in too many because I am panning a palette as well. But I do want to pull in an eyeshadow from my BH Cosmetics Zodiac palette. I do really like this palette. It does get neglected as well because I typically pair the Profusion and the Morphe palette together. But the one I want to focus on is this baked shadow in the shade Pisces. And this is a beautiful metallic bronzy color, very similar to the Conquest shade in the Profusion palette. And then the other eyeshadow that I'm going to be using is the Profusion Metallics eyeshadow in the shade Celebrate. And this is a really pretty kind of peachy pink duochrome shade. I really like it. I've recently hit pan on it. It's just a really fun color or topper. And then I did swatch these on my hand here. So this one is Flash from the BH palette, the Weekend Festival one. This is the shade Pisces from the Zodiac palette. And then this shade, which is really getting washed out on camera, this is Conquest from Profusion, and I wish it would pick up on the peachy pink shimmers, but it's pretty sheer too, but it is a really nice topper shade. But anyway, those are the 3 shadows that I'm going to be focusing on for this project. So that is my first update for my For the Love of Eyeshadows project pan collab with Amanda Makeup and Wine. So I finished 2 shadows and I took out 1 and replaced those shadows with 2 others. I don't want to get too crazy because I am panning another palette. You can check that out in my Pan That Palette update. Please make sure to check out Amanda's channel, Instagram, and her video because I think you guys would really like her. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Talk to you later. Bye.